Okay, good morning, guys. How are we this morning? Hope everyone is well. Okay, here's the scores on the doors. So, I have now, my evaluation is now hit day 6. So I did a one tick micro earlier on this morning. Excuse me a second. Sorry, I did a one tick micro earlier this morning, which completes day 6. So last day tomorrow, and that'll be day 7, and that will get us back into a PA existence. So at the moment, just for the sake of the extra experience and chart time, I'm trading on a demo. There's no point in taking that any further. It's completed its mission. It's hit over $3,000. So we're off and running with that one. So I'm trading on a demo at the moment, Sim 101, and I also am using the trade copier. So Sim 101 is my lead account, exact quantity Sim account number 1 is the copied one. So I might as well continue to use this trade copier and continue to get gain some experience and some confidence. So, who we got on the stream this morning? Let me see. Randolph, good morning. Grandpa Roger, good morning. Nicholas, morning. Morning, what? Afternoon, what? Sorry. It is afternoon here in the UK. Keith, how you doing, Keith? Sam, morning, Sam. Yes, futures trader, good morning. So, good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. So, what I want to quickly mention is I was browsing YouTube, not browsing YouTube, sorry, that's the wrong word. Somebody sent me a message the other day. I think it was Ron sent me a message. Have I seen the Gorilla Trader guy? And I hadn't, so I had a look, and I like him a lot. He's a trader. I think his videos are recently new, certainly within the last 3 months. And I think he's called, is it Gorilla Trades or Gorilla Trader or Gorilla Day Trader, something like that. And I really like him. I like his methods. Now, he trades exactly the same as we do, but he goes for a lot more points. So he doesn't do a runner. He does the same sort of thing as I do, whereas he runs all his trades, but he goes for a lot more points. Usually a minimum of 6 points, some cases 15, whatever he can get. But what he does, which is similar to me, so if he takes a short here, he lets it run down to the lows. When it breaks the lows, he brings his stop down and leaves his stop and then lets it run. So if you haven't already seen him, I advise you can join his Discord. I think he's got a Discord, of course, but I think the Discord is about $99 a month, I believe. But don't quote me on that. Check that out for yourself. But he's the guy. He's got an Eastern European accent, so. Excuse me a second. He's got an Eastern European accent, so but I like him. I like his attitude. He's been trading quite a few years, I think maybe eight or 9 years or something. But I like his attitude towards it, and I like his thoughts. So have a look. Oh, Discord's free, is it? What, you can see him trade live, can you? I don't know. I thought you had to pay for it to watch him trade, or maybe you did get the Discord, but you've got I'm not too sure. Oh, he's Israeli. Oh, okay, yeah, I thought you had to see. He's definitely got an accent, but I couldn't place it. He did sound a little bit, but I like some of the stuff he does. He doesn't trade for long. I think he only trades for about an hour and a half, but live trade every day. Live trade every day is $100. What does that mean, bud? You mean you've got to pay $100 to watch him? Is that what you mean? It's a lot if it is. Live trade every day is $100. You'll have to clear that one up a little bit. I'm not too sure. So let's have a look. Discord access, I think, is free. Okay, but to see him trade, you can see him live now, can you? Oh, okay. It's definitely something that interests me. So yeah, it's something to look out for. Okay, but yeah, something to look out for. But go on, look on YouTube and watch his trades. Watch some of his videos if you haven't seen him. He's really interesting. Okay, first month is free. I got you. Yeah, I haven't paid anything yet. But yeah, he trades exactly the same as we do. But he does go for a lot more points, and I'm sort of definitely leaning towards more points. But obviously carefully and slowly, so you can join and watch him free, can you now? Okay. Okay, so, all right, let's see how we get on here. Okay, so yeah, I get my PA accounts on Wednesday. Actually, let's bring that down there. So market is officially open. Let's take that a bit further up. Okay, that looks quite nice. Okay, so yeah, I hope everyone's well. I hope everyone's had a good. What's the correct name for his channel? There's a few gorilla. I don't know. Let me just see if I can have a flick. Let me just open a. Let's have a look. Gorilla price act. Sorry, gorilla price action. But he trades for a lot more points. So I kind of like him. I like his attitude towards it. Okay, so there is a second entry there, but it's quite a bit away from the EMA, and it is a little bit congested there. So I'm trying to get back to just taking my time and trying to find some good setups, and nothing more, nothing less. So let's see how we get on. Can't chat unless you pay. Oh, okay. Can join and watch him free. First month is free. Okay. I got you. So we're lucky. So yeah, so I've been rewatching some of my. Let's have a look here, because there's a bit of a. If we can fade this, there is a bit of a range there. If we can come down here, close down here, I'll fade that going long. Let's get an order ready. Hope that finishes a little bit more bullish. Okay, I like that. That's an early trade. Just trying to think. I can't see any more resistance up here, so I'm going to take that up a bit longer and just see if I can't follow it up. See what happens. Everything's working here fine. Actually, let's say if that ticks below there and finishes bullish, that may interest me, but thought that would have pushed back in a little bit quicker. Excuse me. Can't see where that's broken. Perhaps sometimes they just take a bit of time. Well, that's taking quite a bit of time. Okay, that's looking a little better. I'm just thinking, what is there up here that might slow it down? Okay, we broke that top. Let's see if we can't squeeze a few more points out of it. Just thinking, I can't see any other sort of resistance area apart from maybe up here a little bit that would slow this down. See if we can get a few more points out of it. That might be a little pullback here to go higher because it. Okay. Let's just check everything's worked there. See, something's not right there. It's still not. That should be almost identical. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. I haven't set the commissions. I wonder why something was up right. Okay. Okay, so. Okay. Your candles look very different. Yes, 2000 tick. Let's reload historical data. See if this helps. Any better? Right, that's finished. That's, yeah, something's definitely changed there, isn't it? Let's have a look. Body touch. 1, 2, 3, 4. Body touch, body touch. Yeah, probably something about right. Okay, so we've had our new high anyway. Yeah, it did go a little bit sideways there. That looked a little bit more bullish when I took the trade. But anyway, we came down to the same place, but okay, now they look the same. Oh, is that better? Hey, Luca, how you doing? I haven't spoken to you for a while. Where you been hiding? Are you well? Now they look the same. Good stuff. When you say DZT, when you say no fading, why wouldn't you fade a range in the middle of a trend? See, we're trending up at the moment, so that's right at the very bottom of it, isn't it? Obviously, it looked a little bit bearish before I changed it. Yeah, I've done that before, actually. I've marked a trade before. Part the way through my trading day, I've reloaded the historic data, and I haven't really noticed anything change. And when I've posted it, someone says to me, why did you take that? Why did you take that? It looks like a doji. Well, it didn't when I took it. So, yes, thanks. Good. Good on you. I'm glad to see you back. So, anyway, it worked out okay. So, that's, yeah, $390, obviously, only on a sim. Now, will I take, let's have a look. Busy with real life problems. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it happens from time to time, doesn't it? Okay, so let's have a quick look what's going on. Okay, so we made a new high. Now, what are we likely to do today? It's hard to do. Let's see where we go. So that fitted quite nice there, didn't it? Now that obviously looks a lot more risky there, doesn't it? But that's the trouble sometimes when you change your reload your historic data. It does not look like a range to me. You don't think that looks like a range? It's definitely sideways, isn't it? It's congestion. It is a range. That's definitely a range to me. It's going sideways. Come out the bottom of it a couple of times, push back through it. That's a range to me. Obviously on a smaller scale. Touch, touch, touch. Body. So what I'm ideally looking for is to come back to the EMA. It looked a little bit different when I took it. It looked a lot more bullish. It's going up quite sharply. The frustrating thing is, first entry, second entry. There's no setup there, is there? You could call that a higher low, couldn't you? And you would think that would go higher, wouldn't you? But we've only just finished here, really, when we started going up. But I suppose it touches here, touches here, touches here, touches here. Yeah, that's probably a higher low, but you haven't got much room. Well, you got no room to the highs there. You got to rely on it going up. But right, I'm going to have a attempt at your name there. You might have to correct me. In fact, you're probably going to Shalonti. Is that right? It's probably completely wrong. If the bar is as big as a range, it's congestion. I've never heard that before, but that would make sense. So I suppose they are as big, aren't they? So you wouldn't fade that then? Well, maybe you wouldn't. Maybe you wouldn't. That's something to remember, though. So we've had a break and a new high, come back down to the EMA, we pushed higher still, so that may be a case for, let's have a look, see if anything else works. Possibly. Just going to leave it for now. It probably is maybe a bigger range, we'll see. We got no news today, so that's where the market opened, that's the highs. Overnight highs, overnight lows. I see it that way, mate. How do I say your name? Is that right? Salonte, is that right? Salonte? Trouble is, all you can say really is yes or no, isn't it? And I could have another 20 goes at getting that right. Salonte? I'm not sure if it's a silent S or a silent Z, is it? Zalonte or Salonte, something like that. I wish you guys had changed your name to Trader 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. It'd be a lot easier. We got it. Salonte. That'll do. That'll do. So where are you from anyway? I don't think I've seen you before. I like to know where people are from. I kind of like that. That seems to be okay. It's from okay, Romania. I got you. That would make sense. That would make sense. From Romania, I got you. It's probably quite a common name, isn't it? But to me, it's a tough one. Salonte. Okay, I got it. I think. So my trading week is Monday to Thursday this week. I've got my mother's funeral on Friday, so as much as I try to get out of it, no, I didn't actually. I didn't. So no, so it's going to be a short week this week, Monday to Friday. So Monday to Thursday, sorry. So Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday we'll start. After tomorrow we'll start the evaluation. Did you withdraw money from Apex? Yeah, I did. Yeah, I got $2,000. So I got something out of it before I blew the account. Now I've done a lot of research again, and I've talked to quite a few people who've done that. They've made a bit of money, slackened off on their standards a little bit, got themselves into a bit of trouble. The emotions have kicked in, and off they've gone again. But I'm led to believe that every time you do pass an evaluation, now you tend to last a little bit longer. So hopefully. And it is a lesson. It does teach you. That it's very, you still. It doesn't matter how many green days in a row, you can't lower your standards. You have to, because I had 18 green days in a row. First 18 days, fantastic green days. I got the account up to about $7,500, I think, before the deduction, before the 2,000 deduction. So I can do it, and I have done it. But I need to make sure I keep those standards. And if you keep those standards, then really everything should go to plan. It's always a way, if you can muster those patience and keep those high standard, high profitable trades, and if you take a loss, fine, you move on. If you can do that, then it should be relatively straightforward. But obviously, doing it is a Hungarian name. Oh, I got you. Okay. No, people get confused by the time. Yeah. Okay. And when you have it, a doji means it's neutral. Yeah. To be honest with you, that wasn't a doji when I took it. Somebody said my chart looked different, so I right-clicked and reloaded my historical data, and that changed that from a bullet, one tick off the top to a doji. So obviously. Therein lies the problem. If you do that, I've done that before. I've taken a couple of trades and I've right-clicked and changed my historical data, and then when I post it, someone says, "Why did you take that trade?" You know what I mean? So that, yeah, it was one tick off a bullish bar. I took it. So there we go. Okay, a little bit of congestion around here again. can I? I'm going to do my very best, he said. To put it that way. What I am going to avoid is picking tops and picking bottoms, and I think that'll save me a lot of misery. So it will be second entries, whether we're in a range or whether we break out second entry going long. The only others I'll do is failures if I see any failures. So obviously not that one, but a failure that ended up maybe, obviously, let's say that came down to here, failure that ended up something like that, then yeah, obviously it's not a second entry. But if it was a failure, try to go low on, try to go twice, that's the type of failure I'd take. Or new low, try to go low on, try to go twice. If that came right down here and finished beautifully bullish, then that's the type of failure I'd take. So failures, second entries. But what I won't do is... So all I really need to do is make sure I take my setups from the EMA, bars that look like that, nice and tight, obviously second entries. And obviously if you have any sort of breaks, there was a short there, but it was more than just a second entry, but a second entry like that, after a break, and obviously down to the bottom. So... But what I will leave alone is picking tops and bottoms. And the trouble is with ranges lately, I mean, when I started a little over a year and a half ago, ranges seem to be... I remember watching Mac mention in his video that he loved range days because all he did is short the tops and sell the tops and buy the bottoms. But it's not that simple nowadays because every time it goes up, it seems to hit a different spot. So that's the frustrating bit. So I will avoid picking tops and bottoms in that, hopefully. I know what you're saying about that, but I see Mac taking them above the EMA all the time. So I don't know. I'm just trying to find something that maybe. Okay, so there's a new high there. It's higher than that high, so we've had one leg down. See what happens here. Now I am aware we've already technically had a break and a new high, but then it continues to go higher and higher still. So see what happens. Like you've got an Apex account that just passed eval level. Yeah. I just did a micro one this morning. That'll start in a couple of days. That will. G Money. How you doing, buddy? How are you? Well, what's your name? Shinins Shinks. That's even harder. Regardless, it was a joke. No, what that was is I traded that. See, that was a little bit below that line, and I just traded that as a break of a break and retest of a range. That's all. That's why I took that one. Obviously, it was a little bit more bullish, and it looked a lot more bullish. And I took that at the bottom of a range. That's why I took that one, not as a second entry, just as a breakout, because it was a little bit lower. That's what it looked like anyway before I changed it. And we'd sort of come up, gone a little bit sideways, and come down to the EMA. That's why I took that. But when you say it failed, it didn't actually. It obviously those didn't tick below and it went up, so it did. It was a winning trade, as not as brilliant as it looks now. But I didn't take it as a second entry. I took it as the bottom of the range and a slight breakout and pushed above the EMA. But yeah, it was a slightly higher riskier trade. I'm on a demo. If I wouldn't have been on a demo, I probably would have left that alone. But it did look a little bit better than that. It was one tick off its high. Yeah, that's what I've said about Mac before. A lot of his trades lately, the setups he marks look questionable. Like, for instance, that. Now, he might call that a second entry because he says he can see one leg down, went up, and another leg down. So, although it might not be to the count, and Marco did one the other day, and I questioned him about it, and I just asked what his, not that was he doing the right thing, just what his thoughts were. And he said the way he saw it was that the overall picture showed him that was a setup or two legs down. And sometimes, for instance, now if you look at this is not a setup in a way, is it? Try to go low once, try to go twice. It's not a setup in a way, but obviously if it was a bit further up here, it's sort of come back down to the EMA, and it's a big bullish candle. Now, although it's not technically a setup, you know, you hear Max say on these range day, on these trend channel days, more or less every time it comes back, you can take, if you want it to be a little bit risky, you can take it. Do you know what I mean? So, for instance, this one again, this is the type of candle, and where it is, I would expect it to shoot up, and it did. Big bullish bar, right at the key entry point, exactly, you know, right, perfect, you know, exactly where I like him at the EMA. It shot up exactly the same with that one. So you see Mac and people like Marco, I know you might say, well, they're more experienced. Well, that may be the case. But, you know, I've seen them take trades like that sort of many times. And Mac might say, you know, it's a fair, whatever it is. But if you look where it is, it comes back to the EMA and then shoots up. That one comes back to not only the EMA, but the bottom of the trend channel. And that shoots up. And they seem to go up strong when they come back to the EMA. That one, although that was a crappy bar, but as soon as it sort of comes back to here, it goes up. Came back to here and goes up. Anything slightly bullish. But it's a case of, you know, sometimes they might be a little bit more. If we're coming up here in a nice range and you may get something like that, we've had a push up, a push down, followed by a nice big bearish bar. Drop below, pull right back, close just exactly right, one tick off its high. You would think that would be the place when we've had a pullback to go high, and it did. It shut up. I'm not saying you should take those, but sometimes, you know, you might think, well, it looks like the type of thing that I see many times that works. So, I mean, if you're going to sort of risk, what is that? 8, 9, 10, it's about 3.25 points, isn't it? So let's say tick below, tick above, it's 4.25 points. So it's quite, the ATR's at 3 at the moment, isn't it? It might be a bit less, but if that was like, say, a 3, and you might think, well, I fancy that to go up here, so if I can risk 3 and take 6 or 9 out of it, then obviously it brings, you know, the higher the sort of reward ratio, it obviously brings, you can obviously maybe take something that might be 70%, you know what I mean? I'd expect something like that to maybe work 7 times out of 10, maybe a bit more. Something like that, especially when they push below and the body sits right on that. The bottom of the body sits right on that, and it's one tick off its high. They tend to go. So if you'd have seen this uptrend, you'd have took that. You'd have took that. I mean, you could have got a fair amount, certainly 2 to 1 there at least, and there as well. So then you might think it's worth the risk. It depends on what you think that it's likely to do. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I looked up here when that went up, thinking about where could I take it to, and the only thing I see up here where it starts to get a bit congested is around here. And funnily enough, that's where it seems to be, you know what I mean, where it is now. So I'd expect something around here. There wasn't much else I could see up here. Obviously, we still had this break and a new high, but if you'd kept in on that, I'm not saying it's the place to do it, but I expected it to move up a bit. And if you'd have held in on that, you'd have been looking at 16 points now. So the 4-point risk doesn't seem to be as bad then if you're willing to let it run. I'm not saying to do that, but, you know, sometimes maybe, you know, yeah, Mac will say a lot of the times when we get this trend, sometimes if you want to be aggressive, you can almost take a nice bullish bar when it comes back to the EMA or the, you know, certainly that one and certainly that one. And if you can get maybe 2-to-1 rule ratio, it obviously brings it sort of back down. Today's quote, a lot there. Trade what's happening, not what you think is going to happen. Doug Gregory. I like to think what's going to happen because I like to see if I'm reading the market, and I'm like to, you know what I mean? I like to sort of look at legs and see if the legs make it, and it just helps you be more proficient at reading the price. But obviously you trade what you see, don't you? Oh, good, buddy. Going slow and steady. Good for you, mate. For you. Yeah, DZT. That's why I messaged Mac the other day, and I said, you know, it'd be really useful if you just, you know, said what trades you actually personally took, because it's okay. Some, you know, as far as I know, Mac's a successful guy. He's been trading for 27, 28 years. He obviously does well at it. If you've been trading markets and you're still doing it, making money 27 years, you're pretty proficient at what you do. There's no two ways about that. But a lot of the trades, it's very easy after the fact and then go, well, you know, I took that one, I shorted that one, and I shorted that one, and I shorted that one, and I went long there, and I went long there, and I went long there. It's easy after the fact, but, you know, he does seem to have sometimes 10, 12, 15 trades. Now, if he says he tries to drum it into you, just take high probability trades, then why is he marking 10 to 15 trades on there? And some of them are a little bit more risky. And now, it's okay doing that, but if you're going to do that, I think you need to say, okay, after all that, that's the setup I took, that's the setup I took, and that's the setup I took. I left the rest. So I think it's important to show what you may have seen, but it's also important to say that, well, a lot of those are higher risk. But that's the one I took, and that's the one I took, and the rest I left. So I've messaged him, and if he can do that, so maybe someone else do it. If he gets a few messages from people, then you know, maybe he'll start to do it. But I think it's important. I think if you're showing lots of trades, and a lot of them are a bit questionable, I think you have to finish with it. That I took this, I took that, and I took that. Because, you know, a lot of people were thinking, well, did he take them all? Did he take 2 of them? Did he take 5 of them? Did he take the slightly higher risky? What, you know, it's a bit pie in the sky, isn't it? It does seem to get a little bit congested around here, doesn't it? Around sort of there, I'd say somewhere around there. Sort of from that area to that area. So let's put in the middle somewhere around about. See what happens. See if it goes much higher. If I was going to run something up here, I'd be thinking about where's the most congested area. Obviously, there's some down here, isn't there? And then it's pretty much plain sailing up to around about here, where it seems to. There's a bunch of little bit sideways down, little bit sideways down, little bit sideways. So around that area, there's some sort of congestion. If I was to take something here or was to run something up, that's where I expect it to possibly maybe stumble. Yeah, I'm mostly Watch, Wade, Gorilla, and Marco. Yeah, I'm there with you. I definitely like Marco. I love his style of trading. His black and whiteness. He's very robotic in his trading, and I think that works for him. And he's a nice chap. I've spoken to him a few times. And I only discovered the Gorilla guy yesterday. His style of trading is a little bit more, I would say, riskier, but like he says, it's not so much how many trades you win or lose, it's how many points you get on the winners. Because obviously the losers, usually a trade like that, the risk will be a set risk, top, a tick above, tick below. And obviously, how much can I make out of it? Do I take it here or do I wait for it to come down? And do I take it a bit longer? Where do I think it's going to go? So, yeah, his policy is that it's about how many points you get from a winner as opposed to how many losers you get. So, and Thomas Wade I usually watch as well. Yeah, he did start showing a lot of his live trades. I don't think he does so much now, but so there is so we've had a break and a new high there. So I think taking a long there, although it might work, I think it's a little bit more riskier. Well, we've had this break and we've had a push up, and not only we've had a push up, we've gone a little bit sideways and we've gone up a bit more and we've gone up a bit more. So maybe it would work, but that's a bit. It's like one tick off a doji, and it's not close enough to the EMA, and there is a lot of sort of a bit of a congested area there. So if it was going to, turn around and go down, that is the area that I would probably think it may do it. So based on what I can see there, I'm probably going to avoid a long here. And there is a failure there. So I certainly don't want to be going short or long here at the minute. Because it may, I know we've had this break, but then it went up, went sideways and continued to go up. So perhaps it might go up to the open or to the overnight highs, but it's a little bit, bit scrappy there. There is a second entry long there, but it's come down, but it just, like I say, because of that area there, I'm going to leave this alone, I think. There is a second entry, and it's a tick or two off its high. It's actually come out the bottom, broke below the EMA a little bit, but I still like those like that. I do. If I'm going to take a trade, a second entry, I love trades like that, or that like that. Second entry and finishing like that, I love. It's pushed right below, pushed nice up, one tick off its high, and it's hugging the top of the line, and that one more or less the same, but it's just a bit dodgier, isn't it? It's probably going to be some longs in there, but I wouldn't be shocked if it come down and stopped me out. Because we have had our break, so that trend channel has technically played out as much as it continued to go up. But just for the fact that that's happened. Possibly a higher low here, but same again, it's a little bit high in the sky here. There is a failure there that's triggered new high, trying to go once, trying to go twice, bearish bar, but see what happens there. Yeah, so that's like a double trap as well, isn't it? That one, second entry long there. Is that going to tick below? Probably. So there's going to be some shorts in there. Oh, it's looking pretty bearish there, but same again. Trying to go once, trying to go twice. It's not a. But it's the old case. It's actually come back to the EMA, but it's not somewhere where I want to go long or short here at the minute. Yeah, it could go either way, that. It has played out, so your guess is as good as mine. It could go up, break these highs, could go up to the open, overnight highs, or it could come down. It's just one of those congested areas. I was hoping we may have another 80% off. And the reason I'm doing that is because I obviously have this code here. Now, when that goes to 80%, my affiliates go through the roof. Now, when it comes down to 50%, I have nothing. So if I'm not having nothing, I'd say a lot of other streamers aren't having nothing, and they're not having nothing. I'd say Apex aren't selling a lot of these. And that's the trouble when you have so many offers at 80%, people just, I mean, you wouldn't pay full price anymore, would you? At best, you pay 50% off. But the trouble is, the more times they have these 80% off, and as regular as they do, people are going to, I don't know why they don't just blanket 80% off everything forever. And I think their sales would go through the roof. Yeah, the trouble is, you just don't know it here because it's sideways, isn't it? Obviously, the failure, and it had, that wasn't the best of bars. There's probably going to be some longs in there, which probably give it a little bit of fuel, but it's quite likely going to bounce a few times and possibly push up higher, but it's hard to say, isn't it? Depends on, you got 4 points out of that, maybe a bit more. Yeah, which is why I've sort of left it alone. I've got to get back into that thing of are we going up or are we going down? I put this line here because there's some congestion around here, and that seems to be sort of starts here and finishes here, doesn't it? That's line sort of in the middle of it, and funnily enough, we have the same there. So I kind of like trying to predict where I think things are going to stumble, because it'll help me then if I get into, let's say this was the first break and that was a good setup. Where do I take that to? Here, possibly a bit higher. So it does help me make decisions on maybe I should hold this, because there's not a lot of areas of resistance till we get to here. And funnily enough, that's exactly where it stalls a bit. So a setup here might be worth holding on to a bit longer. So that's why I try and put these in, just to predict what I think other traders are going to feel when the price gets up to, to the level with that. Fails like an entry long above the EMA isn't great though. That's why I didn't want to get in. I've heard Max say many times, and is on his site, it says it in plain red lettering, don't counter trend trade. Now, until I get some sort of confirmation this is a proper trend that's going down, I tend to leave these alone. At the moment, we're bearish. We've been bearish since 11 o'clock, and it's gone 3 o'clock now. So for the last 4 hours, bearish. For the last 4 hours, we've been bullish. So until we break down, come back up, maybe retest up here and come down some more, I'm not looking for shorts. And at the moment, I'm not looking for longs either. We could. This actually could be something. Let's see if we can make this fit. Yeah, it might end up being something like that. Possibly that. Something like that, isn't it? In which case we've had an overshoot if it closes below there. Yeah, we've broken. We may go higher just because we've had a break and gone high. Doesn't mean we may not more. We may not get another. So I couldn't go long there at all. Trouble is, you go short there, it might tick down here the same level as this and have a beautiful big bullish bar as a, to go high. It's hard to say. Yeah, so exactly. So really, the sensible thing to probably do around here while this happens is just to sit and watch, isn't it, and learn. Probably touch those a bit better. Okay, that fits quite nice at the top, and that squeezes that in, so that fits okay. See what happens when we come up here, whether we have a break and a new low and go higher, or whether we push up a little bit and then come down some more. Well, I didn't so much make it wider. It was I had it more out here. I had it more out here, which wasn't really touching those, so I just brought it down to touch those. The trouble is, if you take it too tight, it's just not right, isn't it? For me, the way that's sitting at the moment, I'd say it's probably not an overshoot. I come to here, see to the next one, and there, for me, that's not a convincing overshoot. We've just come to that bottom left-hand corner of it, and a lot of the times you'll do that, won't you? You'll come right to the very corner of it, you'll go sideways right to this side of it, and then drop. So that, to me, is not really a convincing overshoot. Yeah, we often do that if we come down to the side of it, the opposite side of it. It'd be the same coming to here, wouldn't it? And sometimes we'll go sideways right back to this side and off again. It does seem to go sideways. That's a possible second entry short if that go. I'm guessing that's probably going to push above there and maybe look bearish. And then would you take that? It's hard to say, isn't it? We got a new low, one push up. See what happens here. Yeah, it's a little bit of sideways, isn't it? And a lot of times we do go sideways. Then when we get a nice big bearish bar, we can own some more. See, what I'm seeing is we've had this break and we've had a new high. But it's just where we pushed in and went sideways some more and then pushed up a bit more, a little bit more sideways, pushed out a bit more, telling me that we're bullish, but we have got this congested area, so perhaps this is the way down. See what happens here. Yeah, what I'll usually do with my channel is if we have a break, and a new high, we come back and continue to make new highs, then I'll extend it a bit. But at the moment, we've had this break, new high, and now we seem to be reversing, which is why I didn't. It's why I didn't sort of open it out to maybe here and then push that up there. You know what I mean? Which sort of may end up working. It depends whether it goes up, but at the moment, that's kind of where I like it. It looks kind of nice there. It fits along here nice, fits there nice. Let's just show the midline. Yeah. Yeah, it fits kind of nice there. I like the way it fits there. Fits nice at the top there. Starts here. Touches, touches, touches. Close enough. Nice touch there. Nice touch there. When it pushes back in, it's retesting off the bottom of this line as well. Yeah, so we did go a little bit sideways and then continued down. So this to me now, that would be more of an overshoot than that, I would say. And funnily enough, I like to think where it's likely to come down. And to me, there's some more resistance somewhere around there. In fact, it's around the midline, I'd say. There's some support there. Sorry, there's some resistance there. There's some support there. So I'd expect if this is going to come down or maybe push up or whatever, I'd expect something to come round about here. And I like to try and learn where it's going to go, because if a setup does come, it gives me an idea of where it usually, if you put this on every time and you get it right 9 times out of 10, when it comes to making decisions about how to take your, where to take your trade, it just gives you a better understanding. See that to me there? It comes down, it pushes up, pushes up, pushes up right to the top and then drops. And here as well, it sort of holds here a little bit, pushes through and uses this as some support. Comes down towards it. Obviously, we've had this break, so you're likely then to get more bulls in there, which is pushing it back in, so it didn't give it a chance to get here. But I would say, in fact, if I was going to draw it like that, I would say that is probably somewhere around about where I'd expect it to. Let's have a look. Maybe somewhere around there. If it was going to come down, I would expect it to sort of find some sort of resistance around here. Well, that's pretty. Let's leave that there. Yeah, it depends. See what happens, but I would expect it to find some sort of. I would expect it to sort of finish around here somewhere, or maybe then push up a little bit, and then if the shorts maybe come down towards here, and then push up a bit, and then maybe if the shorts are strong enough, then it might push down below here. But I like to mark these area of support and resistance, because if I took a short here and I'm thinking, where do I take it to? I tend to have that there as a target. So, every time you do that, if you get it right 8 or 9 times out of 10, it just makes that runner more viable. Like your runner or your trade, however you trade it. I tend to run the whole thing. I do now, but it is good to try and work out where things are likely to stall, and that would sort of be an obvious place. I suppose it could be at the top of it as well, really, maybe. I think it's more likely towards the bottom part here, and I think it's more likely around that red line. Same with when we came up, it does seem to get congested around there. Now, you'd think it would more likely hit the open or overnight highs, but it didn't. I'm not saying it's not going to come back here and then bounce off again, but I like to try and pick these areas, and it just gives me a little bit of confidence that I think it was going to stall around here, and it did, and vice versa. So it does help your decision making. Yeah, so that would be an overshoot to me. see where it bounces. See if it bounces somewhere in here. Yeah, that would be my overshoot for sure. Everything else is, you could say that a little bit, but it's questionable, that, isn't it? Maybe it is a bit. Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's not what I would call. I mean, let's find that's clearly an overshoot, isn't it? It's negligible, isn't it? You can leave it there. Well, it doesn't really matter whether you move it or leave it. You could call it a thing, but I'm expecting it to possibly bounce here anyway and see what happens. But it's a little bit further away there. See, if you take it to the top to there, you might say, well, it has overshot a little bit, but yeah, I don't really think it matters either way. What I always like to do, if in doubt, I'd rather put the overshoot in there, because that way when it comes to this side, because obviously overshoot, you get it one side, you'll often get it another side, and it could lead to reversal. So I always like to leave it in there, because at least then it prepares me to be a little bit careful this side, you know what I mean? But see, I'll put that in there, and it's literally right to the nearest tick bounce straight off the top of there, because there is a lot of support around here, which is why I made that sort of area a little bit wider rather than having that, because it just gives it. But its bounce, it's kind of what I did that, because it sort of fits within that bottom section of that and right there, and it has touched there before, so as I put that there, but it just does help you learn to read the markets, because if I was taking a short here, I might think, well, okay, let's put my profit a bit above there, because that's where I'm expecting it to come and to turn maybe. From the lower high. Yeah, see, yeah, I know what you're saying. See, that's usually, see, when we get an overshoot, then it does come out the other side, which it has. So maybe you can incorporate that if you wanted to. But if in doubt, I think it's probably safer. Yeah, the trouble is, if you leave it here and then think, well, that's an overshoot, and then you bring it out a bit more, and then you have this, and then you say, well, that's an overshoot. I tend to just leave the overshoot in. I'm expecting it to come out the other side, which it has. Now, we could now make a new low, or we could come back here and then start going off in another direction. But if you leave it in, it does prepare you for, things might look a bit different that side. You took that triple top here. Yeah. It's something I'm trying to leave, triple tops, picking bottoms, but if it works for you, I mean, it has. See, is that a top? It's just the next level down, isn't it? It's come back. That's what I would call the first hit. That's what I would call the second hit. So I wouldn't call it treble top till it's come away, pulled back once, pulled back twice, pulled back 3 times, and then, but I don't know. I don't trade enough of those, to be fair, so it's probably unfair for me to give my opinion. If I don't trade them, it's not really going to be valid, but yeah, I would say that's an overshoot just by the fact that it's come out the other side. And if you leave it as an overshoot, then at least you're prepared for possibly to come out that side, possible new low, or maybe a bounce in the other direction. But there's definitely some support around there. So if we do make a new low, we'll see. Might not get down there, might go off in that direction. trouble is, the thing is, what I tend to do is I look at other traders on the Facebook group and compare their charts to mine, and it helps you then fine tune it. You know, if you see something and you maybe Max sees it in someone else, obviously then. But a lot of these trades are. It's not black and white, is it? There is a little bit of a grey area. So people might do that slightly different. So people might take that up right to the top of that swing and say, you know, we've had this overshoot. It's hard to say, but then, you know, I tend to sort of leave that the fact we had this overshoot and then we broke out of it. So it's not black and white, is it? But I think if I looked at Mac's chart or Marco's chart, I think that would be pretty similar to theirs. But as long as you're in the ballpark, like I say with the overshoot, you could include it or you could not include it. But as long as you're aware that it may have done, then it helps you make a decision on what to do the other side, because obviously it can affect what happens next, can't it? But there is obviously this support here somewhere. So am I expecting it to break lower than that? Possibly. Or is it going to go off in another direction? Since we had the overshoot, you risked the long, did you? Yeah. Do you know, I think, if I'm right in thinking, when we have an overshoot, I usually expect it at the other side and then to come down a bit first before it goes off in the other direction. Because, as far as I'm aware, overshoots can lead to something similar, the other side of the trend, which we had. And we could still make a new low, but it can lead then to a reversal. So what I tend to do, I mean, I've been trading for a little over 2 years, and I class myself as more now creeping into the intermediate level. So I tend to areas like this where I think, okay, we've had an overshoot, let's let it do its thing. It's going to break out here, possibly. It may come down and make a new low, and it also may shoot off in the other direction. So you could take that as a second entry long, couldn't you? Look, it's bounced right in the middle of that. Well, let's put that right in the middle of there. And that is bounced right off it. Now, it didn't end up as bullish, but that could be an area where it pushes back off. We've made a new low. We've had an overshoot. We've had the same the other side and a break. 2 pushes down to a new low. Right in the middle of that area, it could continue down or it might bounce off. So when we have these overshoots, that's when I tend to just let it sort its thing out. Because I've not been trading that long, you know, maybe in 2 or 3 years, and I see that happening. I know what's going to happen, or more likely know. On the 24th, there was someone's triple top. Yeah. Even if it's wide, yeah. See, I didn't think you could class that. I thought if it comes up, touches it, comes up and touches it again, and comes up and touches it a third time, that's what you call it, triple test. See, that one to me is just part of the downward structure. Now, we've had a bit of a breakaway, haven't we? We've tried to go high once, we've come down, tried to go high twice. If we had another push up, I would say that would be a triple test. But that's my understanding of it. I don't really take a lot of them, to be honest with you. So it's hard to comment really. I'm probably not the best person to comment there really. So let's see what happened there. It is trying to push down. I think it depends how powerful the shorts are at the moment, whether they think it's going to go down or something. He trades triple test. Oh, I didn't think he did. Said it. Oh, okay. So I'm trying to take. See, I didn't think he did. I think he just, from what I read, he just unless he's changed things, I don't know. From what I read, he just takes second entries, failures, and the third one is, second entries within a range, failures at the top where it maybe break out of a range, hit a top, come down once, come down into a range twice, and take those. And when we have a break, so I wasn't aware he's doing that. So I have a little thing I printed out. That one there, yeah. So trades taken within a channel at key entry points on a second entry short, second entry long. After the first break of the trend, second entry, which would be there, second entry there. And on a second entry failure at the EMA at the start of a new trend reversal. Yeah, so that's what he puts in that little bit of write-up he's done, and he doesn't mention anything about triple test, but maybe he does. I suppose things like that come with time, don't they? You could watch him. In fact, there was a triple test the other day I saw, and that was clear to me. We'd broken out, like here we'd come up once, come up twice, come up 3 times, and that was clear. Then it rocketed down, so... In an older post, he said someone asked him if he stopped triple tests, but he didn't answer. Yeah. I'll tell you what I will ask some of you guys. If you're still part of a Max system, message him. Just say any chance you could tell us what trades you took at the end of the day. Because I think what he leaves us with is a lot of trades, and a lot of them look questionable. A lot of them aren't second entries or failures by the count. So it'd be nice, really nice if you could say, well, he needs to be a bit clear about what he describes as good setups. And I don't think there's an issue of him telling us why, what trades he took. I don't see where the problem is. But a lot of times you want to get into the head of these guys that are teaching. You want to see what they think. Now, when I started first learning currency with Andrew Lockwood, you could see him trade for about 2 hours, 3 times a week. So you could actually see what he was doing, and he would talk you through what he saw and what he was doing. Now, that's sometimes, especially for newer guys and experienced guys, you want to get into the mind of these people, don't you? Because, they say surround yourself by people you want to be like, and you want to find out what trades he takes. So if anybody's got a spare 5 minutes and you're bored one evening, just drop my message and saying, any chance you could tell us what trades? And if enough people do it, maybe he will. So it's sort of come through this a little bit, and it's tested the bottom of it, isn't it, a little bit? So I'm thinking now, where is it likely? If it does continue down, where is it likely? And there is some... there is some congestion around about here, isn't there? Trying to think back to the middle of it. There's support there. By the looks of things, there, and there. That's in the middle of it. The bottom of it is about here, so I'd say, yeah. Let's see if we can establish that as part of it. Part of something. Let's put a line right in the middle of it. If I was taking a short here, that's where I'd possibly, that would be the first place I would expect it to stall. It touched here, right on that line, didn't it? Broke below it, body closed right on that line, body closed right on that line. So that's obviously playing a part, not as much as a part as it could have played. But this is our next level of area of resistance, somewhere around here. So it does help you make decisions on where to take your runners. Obviously, if you were taking a trade here, you'd expect it to sort of maybe possibly go around here. That is your first place of, is it going to go to there? And obviously, if it managed to push through there, this would be the next place I would be thinking, I don't trade the noise. When you can clearly, the noise it's there for a reason, isn't it, really? this here? Are we going to go? I mean, if you got a fair mixture of buyers and sellers, obviously if you got more in the way of sellers, it comes down. You got more in the way of buyers, it goes up. But if you've got a mixture, in other words, it's 50-50 when we're going up, we're going down, and in a lot of the cases you get a lot of sideways. But obviously, because obviously we seem to have had two legs up here. See, if I look at that and there, yeah, look at that. We've had two legs up there, and look where that runs, right along that midline. It's funny, isn't it, really? We seem to have two legs up there, so people are going, okay, we've had this big sell-off, overshoot break, then a couple of down to a new low, then we've had two clear legs up. So what are we doing now? Ooh, let's go sideways because we're a bit unsure, yeah? Obviously, buyers took over. We came out the bottom, we shot up some more, had a break, new high. So it's all, but see how that's sort of doing a little bit of stalling there. It did there below it, didn't it? So it does help trying to understand. I know, you obviously trade what you see, but it's good to try and predict these areas because it does help your decision-making process. That was the first area I thought then it may find some resistance, but it seemed to touched it on the top, went back up, pushed strongly through it, came back up twice, and touched right in the middle of that area, and then came down a couple of times, another sort of two legs down. But what we are studying here really is human behaviour, and obviously when you're studying human beings, you try and figure out what goes on in their head, and obviously that would be an area where I would think people would be saying, okay, let's think about maybe taking our profits here, and obviously maybe here, so... Yes, if we're talking about triple tests, you're talking about this, aren't you? I'm assuming. See, that wouldn't be a triple test to me, because this is just part of it, isn't it? That would be one test of it. That would be another test of it. Now, if we came down here and went again, that would, to me, would be a triple test. And if we hit that and ended up bearish, then I would expect it to come down. So that's my understanding of a triple test, but I don't readily take them. So, I can't really comment so much on it, but that's my understanding of them. We've gone up, we've come back, we've tested it in a second time, and if we come back again and test it a third time, and we end up bearish, then. But you see what I mean about this bottom bit? As soon as it gets into this pink area, it's a little bit getting a bit congested again. Even the overshoot, I don't think it was good at the time. Yeah, it's not something I would take, but I don't trade a lot of them. But if I'd have seen that go up again and touch there, right at the same place, then I might have been inclined to think it'd be interesting to see what goes on there. Yeah, see, this is the time now where I probably would extend my... let's see what happens here. Yeah, see that, to me then, is it's overshooting the bottom a little bit, isn't it? It's hard to say. Let's put it back where it was. Doesn't matter anyway. I know it's played out. I know it's played out. But you can spot these areas, see, where they are congested. So I put that pink line there because I'm mimicking what's here, and So if you did take a short here and we didn't have any congestion here, there'd be a good chance that will be going down. And if I look at that as well, it's going to be two legs as well. Obviously, that second leg isn't guaranteed, or not all of it. If there'd have been a lot more congestion, it could have stalled here and shot up. But a lot of times you think these markets are random, but when you actually put these things in and say, I can see some congestion here, let's put this light in. As soon as we get into it, we get exactly the same pattern. So, I need to just sort of, I can trade. That's not my problem. Is I listen to this I listened to this gorilla guy, and he said, if you can trade, that's fine. But the people who are successful are the ones that make the best losers. So it's how you react when you lose is the issue. Now, once you've been doing this, a while, I've been studying this religiously for a little bit over a year and a half. So I've learned enough now to spot a good entry. So I know what a good setup is. Yeah, I can't deny that, and I've had bad luck or whatever. I know what a good setup is. But it's how you react. Now, the problem is with me, I had 18 days in a row, and I got the account up to about nearly 7,500 before that 2,000 came out. And the trouble is, I come in and I was a little bit too relaxed and a little bit too confident because I'm thinking I can't go wrong here. And I picked a top, and it failed on me straight away, and I got frustrated, and it pushed up a couple of more times. And I took another top, and that failed. And that then slowly, instead of walking away there, $800 down, I got frustrated. I was angry because I'd lost 2 trades. And I decided to take a bunch of other random crap trades, basically, which I shouldn't have done. Now, I thought, well, I don't need rules. I've traded for 18 days. I'm clearly building the account up. But it doesn't matter how new you are or how experienced you are. You have to keep these rules. Because it's so easy, and obviously the rules are there to protect you from yourself, really, because it is. So, I know I can trade, I just need to be a better loser. And like that that gorilla guy says, it takes time and it's a process to train your brain. And the only way you train your brain is just many times getting punished, I suppose, and sooner or later you learn it. You tend to think as adults we learn a bit easier and a bit quicker than that, but because of the emotional side, it's very different. But when I lost that account, I was cheesed off, a bit pissed off about it. But after, I thought, well, okay, let's just put this into context. I've learned a valuable lesson. Just because I'm making money and I'm getting lovely green days doesn't mean it's plain sailing. I still have to follow rules. I still have to have a get out clause. If I have a bad day, I've still got to set these rules and follow them to the letter. And if you follow the rules, your loses will become less, your bad days will become less, and you'll slowly start to progress. So, anyway, that's my 6p worth. Maybe that's right. It's 2 legs down anyway, so. And we've had this area which I expected, and look at that, we've just poked out the bottom, and we've just hit the bottom of that area and pushed up, and obviously we've made this second leg literally to the nearest tick or 2, so that's clearly 2 legs down. So let's see what happens here, whether we'll retest this top and continue down some more. I'm guessing now we're likely to then maybe move up. Speedy boy, I haven't seen you for a bit. Speedy boy. Where do I know your name from? Speedy boy. Panda. That's it. Yes, I think I've chatted to you before, haven't I? I'm obviously known as the UK futures trader now, but my name's Lance, so that's what I was. So I've chatted to you before. I'm pretty sure I have. This is also true when you are saying, mate. Thanks for the words. Oh, thank you. I can't remember what I said now. I talk that much sometimes. Trouble is with me, my brain is about 3 seconds ahead of my mouth. Or no, the other way around. So I tend to sometimes talk without thinking about what I'm saying. Yeah, but sometimes you think these markets are random, but they're far from it. Because what you're looking for is how human beings are reacting. Now, most traders know we do this 2 legs, and that was 1 leg, push back up, and another leg. So most traders are knowing round here they want to be dumping their shorts and picking up the longs, and strangely enough, it happened. And obviously, we've got this area congestion, so that'll play a part in the decision making, and here a little bit as well, which is maybe stalled for a second, and then, but. That's why I kind of like to learn to read the market, because then it does help. It doesn't, it helps you make better decisions. So if I took a let's say I took a short up here. Let's say we had 2 push up and I took a short up here. I'm thinking 1 leg down, it's likely we're going to come down here. So I'd have to take that into consideration, that there is a bit of congestion, and then I'd obviously take that into consideration, because as soon as it hit that area that I drew, before it came down here, it went a little bit sideways, and then we just pushed down, obviously, then to the measured leg. So they're far from random, these markets. Let's see what happens. Now we've touched this all the way down, we've come back. Now, this isn't necessarily a bigger trade. We've had 2 legs down. That's it. So I noticed, was it Brandt posted a chart the other day, and he took a trade here. Now, to be honest with you, I'd have probably taken the same trade, and we had 1 push down. It wasn't up. It was more sideways, and another push down. So it looked like it was fitting in a lovely trend. But technically, we hit the top, hit it once, or started once, we came down, hit it twice, and it came down to here, and the red bar was slightly lower, so you would think that was the 3rd time, but he went short and it carried on going up. Because we hadn't technically confirmed it, but it looked like it was a perfect trade. So it just goes to show sometimes, but every time something goes wrong, every time we make a cock up, we learn something, don't we? And that's what I like about trading. I love learning stuff, and if something goes wrong, I like to learn why it went wrong. Let's have a look who we got on the chat. 2 legs down, previous support, yep. Keith, I just got a break now. I just got a break now. Oh, have you changed your chart a bit, have you? Not sure. James Swan, last day of Apex evaluation tomorrow. Fantastic. So I'm assuming by that comment you've actually hit your target. So all you really need to do is do a what's it? So yeah, last day tomorrow. Yeah, last day for me as well. Good for you, mate. Where are you from, James? Not seen your face before, I don't think. James Swan. If I had to guess, I'd say UK. But I might be wrong. But good for you. Good for you. It's kind of a nice, exciting time, isn't it? Let's see what's happening here. Yeah, it is nice, I got to say. So, we've come down and we've made our second leg and we've pushed up. We've had a bit of a break. If you can call that a break. It's technically really not confirmed as a channel that yet, because all we've had is 1 push down, a little bit of sideways, and another push down. Yes, we've come up here and we've broken out of it, but it's not necessarily confirmed it, or I would say it hasn't anyway. And until we confirm it, come down more. Just after what happened with Brandt the other day, I've got to say, he took that trade. I thought it was an absolute beauty, to be fair. But it's easy. The good thing is, when you've been trading a while, you can get to the stage where you can take a trade, and when the market's played out, you can then work out what went wrong. That becomes easy. But, you know, when I was sort of learning in the earlier days, I used to copy my chart, take a screenshot of my chart. And if something, you know, a trade didn't work, I'd take a screenshot of it and post it and get some feedback. But I'm at the level now where I can pretty much tell what went wrong. Might have been me being a little bit too hasty. But we have, yeah, see that channel hasn't really confirmed yet. So what you could say is, let's put that back somewhere around out there. We've had this trend down, we've had a break. 2 pushes down to a new low. So that's 2 legs, and that to me looks like 2 separate legs as well. I would say somewhere around about there, maybe not. Looks like, where was that? This looks like a couple of seconds, maybe not. But we've had 2 legs down there anyway. But that to me is a trend down and a break and a new low, which can then mean it's played out. And the trouble is, if you do Why isn't that highlighting? Why isn't it highlighting? Light up, you bitch. Strange. Oh, yeah, the trouble is, it's easy sometimes to draw it like that and think, we've had a break, let's go lower. And expect it to make a new low, but to me, that's already had a break. Something like that. Yeah, maybe a bit of an overshoot in that. But anyway, it's a break. A few legs down or whatever you want to, a new low and a bounce. Yeah, so if you're a little bit more risky, you could have taken that one. But that's played out anyway, and just the way I'm looking at things now, there's definitely some resistance down here. It looks like we are moving so far. It just could be a couple of legs up, and that may end up, in fact, it's always possible that could end up in a bigger sort of downtrend. I don't think it's going to, but that's 2 legs up. Let's see what happens. Let's have a look. Keith Thetford Forest. Where's that? I live in Thetford in Norfolk. James Swan. It's a perfect British name, that, isn't it? Norfolk, Thetford. Isn't it RAF Thetford out there, is it? UK, baby. I thought you were. Let's get quite a few UK guys on here, actually. We were dwarf with all the US guys, but we are starting to get our way, take our way back. Love the Forest, the Forest thing. I used to follow Leeds, I did, but I go on a football I did a few years ago. I just saw some trouble there, some fighting there, and it just put me off. And I'm a cricket fan now. I have been for quite a number of years. Thetford, I'm sure, James, just down the road from RAF. I thought so. Yeah, I thought it was an Air Force base there. Excellent. Norfolk. A nice countryside out there, actually, isn't it? Are you sort of northeast Cambridge, or just East Cambridge, somewhere in there, isn't it? If I remember rightly. East Coast way, aren't you? Norwich way. Okay, let's see what's going on here. 2 pushes up. Okay, bullet's closed to the nearest tick. So are we going to start moving in this direction now? It's hard to say, really, isn't it? Push down, push up, push down, push up. We are surrounded by air bases, English and American. Are you really? Yeah. I had a stepfather, and a dad, actually. I had a stepfather in the army, so we've been all around the country. I kind of love living around near air bases, I do. We were over in Northern Ireland for 2 years in Omar, and we live literally 100 yards from the helicopter pad, and it's kind of nice. Kind of nice having all the hustle and bustle and the noise. I am an aviation fan. I do like going to some of the air shows up and down the country. But yeah, I'm pretty sure there's an airbase, a US airbase somewhere, isn't there? A lot of US based over here. Yeah, so we got a few UK guys. Got Sam and Keith from up north, Scotsman. There's another guy. There's a couple. There's one guy from Kent, another guy in North London. There's quite a few. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's about 7 of us, I think. 7 or 8 of us. Oh, really? Oh, crikey. I don't think they're allowed to do that, are they? Or not? They're not supposed to, are they? Break the sound barrier. I know we did have that really bad accident, didn't we? I forget where that was now. Where that plane came down on it was at Crossroads, wasn't it? Or a junction. Came down. Speedy Boy. Oh, yes, I have spoken to you before. It's Lance. I've spoken to you before. Not UK citizen though. I have spoken to you on what's its channel, haven't I? Panda's channel. Yeah, I've spoken to you a couple of times. It was North London. I live in Canada, but from North London. You know. What made you go there then? Isn't it cold? I used to get the F-15s overhead all the time. For Rangers, yeah. I know I've been up to I think it's Snowdonia area, and that's nice. You get them all there flying through the valleys and all that. It's quite exciting to see, actually. Yeah. They aren't allowed unless they're responding to something. Oh, of course, yeah. Yeah, if it's urgent, you've got to put your foot down, haven't you? You lived in Milton Keynes for 6 years, did you now? Milton Keynes. I went out with a girl from there, Milton Keynes, years ago when I was a young lad. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, mate. I appreciate it. I'm just telling. This is just my story, really. Sup, dudes. Prancy. Nah, this is just my story and my struggles, really. You know, what's helped me, where I found it hard. We're all sort of in the same boat, and sometimes it's nice to hear someone else yabbering on about it, isn't it? It's always nice to listen to someone else when you realise you've had exactly the same struggles with them. It does make you feel like you're not on your own, doesn't it? Because it can be a lonely old place trading sometimes, can't it? Cold in Whistler. Whistler. Whistler, that's a ski resort, Whistler, isn't it? We did look to go skiing in a couple of years around there. Isn't that Whistler up near Aspen and places like that, isn't it? What's the other place? There's another place. It does look really nice at Christmas, I've got to say. If you like snow, that is. I don't mind it, actually. Especially at Christmas. You want to head for the snow at Christmas, don't you? Let's just faint them down a bit now. Okay. Yeah, indeed. The mid game is I'm struggling on. Yeah, it's not easy, mate. It's not. I got my account up to about, I think it was about $7,400, or it would have been. I withdrew 2,000, and it was about 5,400. And I came in the stream and I took a quick trade. We were in a bit of a range, and I shorted the top, and it came down a couple of ticks and stopped me out. And that frustrated me because I did it in like the first couple of minutes of trading, and then it went up a bit higher, and I shorted that. Just, you know, sometimes you make these snap decisions and you just think after, why? And I ended up going down about $700 really quickly. And that just, I don't know, it put me in a bad mood. And what I should have done, the sensible thing to do then was to say, okay, 2 losses, let's knock it on for the day. If you have 2 losses in a day, something's not right. Whether it's your mood, right, or the market's choppy, or a combination of both. So what I should have done then was walk away $700 down, but like an idiot, I carried on. You know, you get that little bee in your bonnet, don't you? And you just think, I'm going to carry on. And I ended up going down $2,300. So I lost about a week's worth of profit in one day. And that put me in a bad place. So the second day, what I should have done is take a day off. But I came in and got battered very similar. So I lost $4,000 in 2 days. So it just, you know, sometimes it's almost like sticks a little knife in you, doesn't it? And every other trade you do, then it's just, I sort of knew it was happening. And I sort of got that frustrating feeling, think, well, I'm that down now, I might as well take something stupid gambles and try and get it. And I ended up doing the stupid thing, which a lot of us do. But, you know, fortunately, I'm lucky in a way that I can take these knockbacks and bounce back from them. So I got another PA start in the day after tomorrow. So I'm just going to learn from the first one and try and not repeat the same mistakes. I'm going to try and trade nice and steadily, wait for those good setups, not rush things, and then put into place that if I do have 2 losses within one session, that I walk away. Because something's not right if you have 2 losses in a day, especially if you're only taking a maximum of 3 trades in a day. If you're losing 2 of them, then something's not right. Whether it's a choppy day or whether your mood's not right. How long have I been trading? I started a couple of months over 2 years ago, and I did 6 months with a chap called Andrew Lockwood, who's a currency trader in the UK. He worked on the trading floors at the London Stock Exchange during the 80s, and he had various different posts, various parts of the world. You're asking someone else. Sorry. So, if you've been trading 4 years, what did you do before then? DZT, what did you do before Pat? At the beginning, Bloom. Oh, yeah, it's frustrating, isn't it? I feel your pain, brother. Yeah, it is frustrating. Okay, so that is confirmed, this uptrend, although there's not technically a setup there. And I am aware there is a little bit of congestion, so there's this little bit. Let's have a look. Yeah, there's a bit of resistance there. Support there, resistance here, and resistance here, so be careful going long here. That's not a setup anyway, so I can't really take that with good conscience, but that has confirmed the trend. So we've had this push down, we've had a break, a couple of legs down to a new low where we got some more resistance here, and we've just popped straight off there. And that measured leg played out. So even some days, if I don't take many trades, what I predict that I think is going to happen when they work, you just think this is sort of valuable intel, isn't it? Because it does help your decision making. Yeah, if anybody's looking at that and saying, why did I go long on a doji? I've reloaded my historical data. It didn't look nowhere near as bad as that. Not following the rules, but being after the emotions. Yeah. Glad you shared your experience. Yeah, it's. I'll look at this. For anybody else who hasn't seen this, let me share something else with you. If you think you're finding it tough, let me show you something. There you go. So the top lot are Apex. So there's 81 of them. Yeah, the 81st I'm doing now, yeah. There's 2 U profit. Those 2 are my own accounts. And there's another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 more U profits. That's 12 U profit. 81 Apex, 12 U profit. That's 93. 3 into trade, 94, 95, 96. So 96 failed evaluations. 9 failed PA accounts. Yeah. So 96 failed evaluations. And 9 failed PA accounts. Well, yeah, one of them's failed, but I did actually make some money, which probably paid for about that much, not the rest. But if you're finding it hard, look at that lot, yeah. So you're in on your own. So don't stress. But I am at the level now where I can spot a good trade, although I'm still making errors from time to time, but I do seem to be able to up the ratio in my favour to be able to make money. So see, there's not really a setup there, although it's a wonderful bar, isn't it? It does confirm it, and it's that good a bar, it has just shot straight up there. Unit numbers around the same. Yeah, I know a guy who's done over 200, and there's probably a lot more as well. Are you doing Forex? Yeah, same here. That's a pain in the arse, Forex, isn't it? Screens everywhere, multiple time frames, multiple currency pairs. Looking for strong and weak currencies. Yeah, I just felt like I was forever browsing through different currency pairs, majors, minors, trying to find strong and weak against weak currencies and trade them, and using an hour time frame and a 4-hour time frame as an anchor. Yeah, I've got to say, when I saw Michael Chin trading one chart, one time frame, it was like, that is a bit of me. That's what I want to do. So that has gone up there nice and strong, isn't it? See, we have had that sort of little bit of support there. Sorry, support there, resistance there, and a bit of support there, but it's come back and shot straight through that. So now let's just bring this over there. So see, somebody mentioned about triple test here. We've actually pulled down once. We pushed up once there, pushed up. Now, if that pushed up there, had a bit of a break in, pushed up there, I would say that would be a triple test. So whether it'll do it or not, I don't know. But sometimes when it does shoot up like that, it comes back down pretty quick. So if that went up to there, then I will call that a triple test. Come back, we've pushed up once, come back, pushed up again, pushed up a third time. That would be a triple test to me. But Michael Chin is a legend. Yeah, I'll tell you what, I don't know why he doesn't do his YouTube channel. He had 800,000 views on one of them. He must be making a few quid just from YouTube. But yeah, he's the one that got me into this. I just like the fact that he was trading one chart, one time frame, and that's it. Whereas when I was trading with Andrew Lockwood, I was doing some day trading and some swing trading. So I think the swing trading just bored the arse off me. I just holding on to trades for 2 or 3 days. You know, I like the fact that he was in and out of a trade in a matter of minutes here, and 2, 3 trades a day. And that's what got me interested in this. That one leg you marked, is that how you spell marked? How you spell marked? It's just one leg down. This one here. See, that's 2 legs down to me. That to me is clearly 2, if that's what you mean, yeah. We've got 1 leg down to here. There. And a second. That's clearly 1 leg. 2 legs to me, and it's almost done it. Turn the nearest tick. So I don't know what everyone else thinks. That's 2 legs to me. In this channel, 1 leg in this channel break. No, the one going up. Oh, here. Oh, you mean that one? Well, I don't know, that looks like a leg. Coming back and a leg again, obviously. It actually, the body closed below here, but I don't know, it looks like 2 legs to me. You on about up here? It's not, it's sometimes you'll have 1 leg up, 1 leg up, and 2 individual legs within the, you know what I mean? There could have been sort of 2 sort of legs there. 2 sort of legs there, but you can get more legs, can't you? Because I know I heard, what's it saying? What's his name? Who's the old guy with the glasses? Who's the granddaddy of price action? He said sometimes you'll get 3 legs, and then the inside leg is often smaller or something like that. Sometimes you'll get a big leg, a smaller leg, and you'll think that's a lot smaller, but then you'll have a bigger leg here. So I don't know. We've had this overshoot anyway, haven't we? That's confirmed. That's confirmed the channel, and we've obviously pushed up it, but we've had an overshoot here. So let's figure out where it's likely to go and why. I wonder if this will play a part, because there is a little bit of resistance here. Some resistance there, a little bit there. I wonder if that will play a part. I did mention that a minute ago, if that's a second leg and it touches there and comes bearish. That's what I would call a triple test. Come up to it once, come up to it. I don't know whether they have to come up to it in closer succession than that. I'm not sure. As I say, I don't really... Al Brooks, yeah. fact, that Gorilla guy, he learned from Al Brooks, not from Mac. And I'm pretty sure, from what little I've seen of Al Brooks, he takes a lot. He takes more points, doesn't he? I still don't quite understand why Mac only trades 1 point. Mind you, if he makes 1 point but makes stacks on his runners, then you know it works for him, doesn't it? Okay. So if that is a measured leg, it's sort of literally a tick. It's more or less on it, isn't it? See what happens here. Just wondering whether we it's obviously a range day, isn't it, today? But let's pop that there. Let's leave that there. I think possibly here, isn't it? There is some fact. Let's leave that there, but let's get rid of that. In fact, let's put that at the tops on. But don't forget where the overnight highs. Okay. Okay, so there's our open, there's our overnight highs. I've put this there because, well, where else would you put it, really? Could put it there. Let's leave it there for now. We can always adjust it, can't we? I'd say that's probably a breakout at the bottom there. It's sort of holding here, isn't it? So would I say this is a downtrend? No, I wouldn't. Definitely not. That's a downtrend. That's an uptrend. That's a downtrend. We're moving up. So I don't think there's any way you could draw this as a downtrend. No, that's definitely not a downtrend to me. 100%. Push down. We've come up. Push down. We've had an overshoot. It may come down, but I mean, this, you can't really tell at the moment. This may turn into something like a downtrend. But we've only really pushed down a couple of times and pushed up. So you couldn't call that a downtrend until it at least comes down again and maybe comes down here and touches again. It's only really, well, if that's where you're drawing it, I can't see where else you would draw that from, to be honest with you. So that's definitely arranging to me. Strong push down, strong push up. Yeah, I'm looking at the other price action, but I can't see where you'd think that's a downtrend. I can't see where you would draw it from. You draw it from here, it just starts here as all this comes back up and touches here, but you've got to wait for it to come down, maybe another leg, and then come back up. Oh, you've been spending too much time on a beach, oh son. You're too relaxed. It's that Hawaiian weather and lifestyle. It's walking around all day relaxing in your grass skirt with your little flowers around you. Too much of that. Too much relaxy time. You're out of touch today. Come on, I'm waiting for your comeback. Lay it on me, brother. One point never worked for me. Sorry, I didn't read that. Nah, me neither. No. If you look at any trade, I'll tell you what I did about a year ago. I looked at Daniel. He's one of the moderators on the Facebook group, And he used to post his charts every day. I went back on his chart every day for a fortnight, and I saw a total of 30, I think it was 36 trades, including the trades he'd marked, high probabilities, and the slightly riskier ones. And out of those 30 odd trades, every single one of them would have made 2 points or more. Every one of them. And that was a no-brainer for me. I just switched straight to 2 points and that was it. You know, even if it happens 50% of the time, 50-50, you're still doubling your profit. So, but I don't know, 30 odd trades and every one of them, that was a no-brainer to me. And then I went for 2 points. And what I tend to do now is if I take a short, I run it to the nearest high or low and then drop me stop in. And then if it does go higher, I'll just follow it up. That's what I tend to do. And it tends to work out better than taking 2 points, definitely for me. Just wondering. Yeah, it fits there nice, doesn't it? I was going to say I could probably adjust that a bit to there and that. No, it's not right, is it? That's where it is. See, we've touched twice here, so you could say, well, that's a bit bigger then. I suppose it possibly could be actually. Does it touch these two, or does it touch those two? In fact, I tend to go with the safer option, that it's had an overshoot and a new high. So let's see what happens. If it comes down here and carries on going like that, then maybe I'll extend that top line. But I'd rather keep it there and say that that's had an overshoot than I expect the opposite this side, which we have. So let's just bear in mind there is some an area of congestion right the way along here. In like 20 trades, probability is 1 not making 2 points. Yeah, the rest, it's a no-brainer, is it? If you're doubling your profit every time, even if it happens, even if you fail once in every 3 times, you're still winning, aren't you? So that is a second entry long, probably, but because we've had this overshoot here, I'm staying out of that, and it is below the EMA anyway, and I think if it pushes up the EMA, it's going to be about 18 points, which is, yeah. So I'd say that's definitely an overshoot, which has caused the break this side. So let's see if we push up a bit, and then maybe it is possible we could do something like that. Because obviously overshoots can just come out this side and carry on, or they can trigger a reversal. So retraced midpoint. Be mindful of setups here now. Yeah, that's why I'm not doing anything at the moment, because they're clearly overshoots to me, which is the same as this side. So we may go higher, but we could also come down. Yeah, 1 in 3 trades, Speedy. It's a no-brainer, is it? Absolute no-brainer. Just excuse me I'm going to take a quick 5-minute break, and I'm going to make myself a quick cup of tea. I'll be back with you in 5 minutes. And what did I miss? Okay, so yeah, we had that overshoot, which can cause the same on the other side. Can send you in the other direction, but it does look like we're going to try and make a new high. So no setups, nothing there, is there? Nothing there. Got to say, I don't know whether it's me, but trading has been harder lately. There's been a lot less setups. So to be fair, the more I look at that, the more obviously it looked a bit different there, and it did work. But I think it was obviously a riskier trade. I see congestion. I see an uptrend congestion come back to the MA. Obviously, it looked a bit more bullish than that, and it worked, but, you know. But apart from that, I can't really. Trouble is, although we've had a break and pushed up, it's a bit early to. I mean, there's the failure, isn't it? Which I think is risky. Although there is a second entry long there, but it's a bit risky. I can't really see anything come down here. We push back to it, but there's no real setup there. We've only just confirmed the trend. I mean, you could have took that. It's hard to say, really, isn't it? You could have took that, but it's early days, really, in this. It's only really confirmed here, but there's no real setups, is there? We couple of legs down. It's just risky because obviously we've had this overshoot. There's no guarantees we're going to make a new high. It could go in the opposite direction. So taking that is risky. So I really can't see any really sort of give-me's, if you like, obvious trades. There isn't really. We've had this big strong push down and we've had this overshoot here, which is confirmed. Yeah, there's nothing really, is there? And it's getting more and more like that lately, and I don't quite understand why. I know obviously markets have been. You could just make a double top. It's just there's nothing obvious, is there, at the moment? They're the trades I want to get back to, the ones that jump out and wave at you. You know what I mean? I mean, for instance, this bar here or this bar here, if we'd have had two clear legs down and that was maybe up here, we'd have had two clear legs down in a bar like that, then obviously that would have been a gimme, wouldn't it? But the thing is, when you get these overshoots and it comes back, it can make a new high. It possibly will, but it could also go down, couldn't it? But it looks like it's hard to say at the moment. It's looked like it's getting ready to add sort of two legs down, one push up. Could have another push up to this area around here, but it's hard to say, really. But yeah, there's nothing, and that's what I was talking to Marco about this earlier. I was saying it just seems to be getting harder and harder. There's less setups, and he went, you know, obviously it won't always be like this. It'll get easier, and you know, you'll get the odd days before long that you won't know what to do with them all. There'll be that many, but then the trouble is, the longer you wait for these setups, the more it's hard to believe when they come along. It's like, is that real? Should I take it? You know, you start questioning, is it right? You know, you start shaking, thinking, wow, I've got a setup that doesn't look right. And it's just like, you know, when you wait for something and it never happens and all of a sudden it happens. And it's like, you know, it's like panic mode. What do I do? It's like this time of year, the markets are shifting. See, I remember trading all through last year and it was nothing like this. In fact, it was easier. I've got to say, this is some of the hardest trading I've seen. So let's have a look, push up. So you could call that, I mean, I'm thinking up at the moment, just the way it's looking. But it's a possible second entry short, but I'm just not getting into anything at the moment. It could trigger and trap some traders. See, it might come up and retest this area. And it's certainly looking a little bit congested, so it's hard to say. But that, if you took that trade, I don't see how you would. Let's have a look. Some may have done. See if that one triggers. But for me, it's too risky at the moment. I'd say we're likely to come retest some of this area again, but that's just an educated guess. See if it triggers. And the EMA's flat as a pancake at the moment, isn't it? Speedy, how's Panda getting on at the moment? I know he had some tough times, did he, recently? I watched that day where he had that $2,000 loss and he took a break, which I probably helped him. Actually, I did send him a message wishing him well. We've all been there. I've had my trials and tribulations lately. Okay, that has triggered. But I do catch up with him now and again, and he had seemed to have, I think he'd held back a little bit. He'd got a little bit safer, I think, hadn't he? But I've not seen him in the last few days. So, okay, so that has triggered, and then it's looking like it's going to. It's a second entry short, isn't it? But the EMA's flat, and at the moment, it's just a little bit. I'm certainly not confident enough to trade in it. It looks like it might be starting. Possible downtrend. It's early days yet, isn't it? Yeah, so if you'd taken that, you'd have got your points, I think, when you got certainly a couple of points there, isn't there? Yeah. You'd have got 3 points there, I think. Maybe just under. Took that second entry short, did you? That one there, yeah. See, for me, it's just a bit unsure what's going on at the moment. Had this overshoot, which has led to the overshoot, and that went up strongly. See, so I didn't know whether it might come down a couple of legs and then push back and retest this area again. I still think it might do, but it's hard to tell. But you got your points, that's the main thing. And before they came along, the EMA was really flat, wasn't it? And there is a little bit of congested area around here, which you can see there a bit, and there a bit, and here a bit. Oh, it's been green for the past few days. Good. When he's announced that his streams are going to be around 1930 for the next few weeks. He's probably busy with his personal. Okay, so what does he just trade in 1930? So that's 7:30 your time, isn't it? Yeah, is that what you mean? Yeah, it must be. Oh, so how's that going to work then? 1930. So that's 7:30 in the evening your time, isn't it? I'm not sure what you mean there, bud. Yeah, so I look back on his, because he's a nice chap. I look back on his videos going back like a couple of years ago, and he had lots of green days, so he can trade. He just seems to have slipped into some bad habits, which, let's face it, we've all done. Calling it a day, look forward to you on your PA account. Thank you, my friend. Yeah, you have a good evening, what? And I'll catch up with you tomorrow, matey. Have a good one. Okay, so this, it's hard to say at the moment whether it's a downtrend. It just could be a couple of legs. Yeah, I don't like to see anybody do bad. It's we've all felt the pain, haven't we? Yeah, I wouldn't wish that on anybody. It is hard, isn't it? He had that 2,000 odd day loss, didn't he? And then he took a few days off. And I got to say, when I had that loss as well, I had a loss about 3 weeks after him, maybe four weeks after him. And when I lost that, actually, he popped into my head, and I thought I need a break, so I took a few days off, I think. But yeah, sometimes it is easy to slip into some bad habits, isn't it? And you take slightly less, you drop your standards, don't you? You know, you do okay and think, yeah, it's fine, I'm killing this, and all of a sudden you drop your standards. And just because you're making money and hitting green days and doing well doesn't mean the market's going to go easier on you, does it? You've still got to keep your standards up and take those, just wait out for those best trades. The unfortunate thing lately is they seem to be few and far between. They're just, I did a trading day a month ago and I did 3 trades in the first 45 minutes and they were beauties. And then sometimes we sat through a day the other day, there was one set up all day. And I watched Marco's analysis as well, and I don't even think he marked a trade, and that's unusual. So they are few and far between, and I don't quite know why. Because, you know, a trade sometimes, until the last couple of seconds, you know, doesn't. So you think a lot of it may be down to just the way the market's run, but obviously something's changed. Okay, I'm probably going to do about another 20 minutes. Let's take it up to 5 p.m. UK time, I think. Things are quite slow. Mind you, when they're like this, I'm quite happy chatting away, I am. As long as someone's listening. That there, all that is, if I remember rightly, let me have a look. Okay, that is just what I've done is clicked on save positions, because what I like to do is have my account information here, and I like to have my orders and positions purely because I'm using the trade copies. So what I do is click on one of those, it doesn't matter, click duplicate new window, and there it is. And what I can do is just remove a lot of this. If I right click and click properties, I can get rid of, let's say I can get rid of 90% of this. Let's say I want to get rid of them. Click OK. They are. It just gives me the instrument. I can have in there. I've obviously got state, filled, account, display, and cancel. So you just literally right click in there and just, you know, delete what you don't want to do and keep what you want. So just go into say positions or orders, doesn't really matter, and duplicate in new window, and then you can have that separate bit of information in there that you can do with as you please. That was it, wasn't it? Yeah, so I'll just delete that. I just keep them there. That's all. I like to have my account information there, and it's just for when because I use the trade copier, so I'm putting a limit there. It just tells me that those two sat there waiting, and obviously then if they say okay or whatever, I can, if there's any issues then with any of them, I can close down any individual account like that. That's all basically. There you go. How do you draw the way your chart displays on the top? How to add drawing the way your chart displays at the top. You read that again. How to add drawing the way your chart displays at the top. I'm not sure what you mean, mate. I'm not sure what you mean, bud. You're gonna have to be a little bit. You on about things like all this stuff here? You on about these lines and channels? I tell you what I do if you're not sure about it, go on to just go onto YouTube and type in using NinjaTrader, set it up NinjaTrader and stuff like that, and it talks you all through this a lot more comprehensive than I can. Yeah, so there's loads of information about that. And you draw the way your chart displays at the top. Are you on about these or are you on about these? I'm not sure what you mean, bud. How do you add drawing the way your chart? Oh, God, okay, yeah. Yeah, just go onto YouTube and just type in how to use NinjaTrader or setting up NinjaTrader or whatever. You couldn't make myself clear. Yeah, it's okay, mate. This probably not the clearest English speaking person you're going to meet. So yeah, just go into NinjaTrader, YouTube, and then just type in how to use NinjaTrader or how to set up your chart, and it'll talk you all through this. It is fiddly when you start, but don't worry about it. You'll get there. Takes time, mate. Takes time. Is the price action trading system add-on? Yes, that is. Yeah, that's the add-on that comes with Max. Comes from Mac's website, and which is there's two of them. I think that one. Yeah, the Pat's toolbar, and that just gives you enables you to sort a lot of other bits and pieces out. It's going to take me too long to go into it a bit, but you can put you can have when the market opens, you can have it to change a different colour, like system separate panels and all that sort of stuff. I tend to keep mine all the same colour, but yeah, that's what I was talking about. The add-on. Okay, yes, this here. So if you're a member of, if you're learning this, I would absolutely recommend you join Mac's price action trading system. It's $120 for a year, so it's cheap. And there's loads of bits of information, and there's extra downloads with things like toolbars and all sorts of other bits and pieces you can do. And he talks you how to download them and install them. And there's dozens and dozens of videos there explaining about second entries, failures, trend channels, areas of resistance, congestion, all that sort of stuff. So for $120, it's an absolute steal. It's so cheap. You won't find a trading system to learn that cheap. I've never come across anything anywhere near that cheap. So I would absolutely do it. In fact, I had it for a year, and I finished my membership last June, but I've just signed up again because it's good to go over the basics sometimes and just refresh your memory about things, because it is easy. It's like driving, isn't it? When you've been driving years, you slip into some bad habits, so it's quite useful. If you end up having a lesson or an instructor or something, they just brush up the basics again. So it's not like to get this separately. Do I have? No, you don't know. It's now if you want, you can buy the the manual. Now, you don't have to, and I know people who haven't. So to join, tell a lie, it's $125 for a year. So just go on there, and it's just the premium membership. It's $125 for a year. But you will not find, and I'm giving you my word there because I've had it myself and I've just re-signed up again. You won't find a trading system where you can become a membership for a year. I'm paying almost £20 a month. What's that for? I don't know what you're paying £20 a month for. You can pay monthly fees, but it works out more expensive. So just go to, let me find it on here for you. Yeah. I'll find it for you. Okay, that's basically it there. That's it there. And it's £125 for a year. So priceactiontrading.com. And there's loads of video lessons. There's all sorts of information there and diagrams, and there's everything there. There's videos. I would absolutely do it. I would. It's. I don't get anything for it. I'm just recommending you as just another trader. But you won't find a trading system or any type of method of learning to trade that cheap. You really just won't. And it doesn't automatically restart after a year as well. So you can redo it after a year. You can let it lapse, whatever you choose. It's a great system, it really is. And when you follow it and learn it and follow it to the letter, it really does work well. That's the one, yeah. Yeah, you carry on, mate. You have a look. Definitely worthwhile. You're welcome. You're I know what it's like when you're new to it. It's a minefield. You just don't know, what courses to do. But it's so cheap, and you really can't go wrong. I promise you. Getting quite congested around here now, isn't it? I'm going to get rid of that for the time being. Break a new high. So let's follow this one. Yeah, I'm just leaving that like that at the moment. It's probably a bit wider, but it's just a bit on. It's a bit unclear in here. There is a lot of congestion around here, and there is around that pink area that there's some support resistance and some just congestion in general. So it's not clear to me what's going on there really. May end up being something bigger, but yeah, it sort of does fit, but it's a bit messy. Where am I from? I live in a place called Shrewsbury in Shropshire in the UK. And if you don't know where Shrewsbury is, it's where Charles Darwin was born and went to school. So anybody with exams in history should know that. So yeah, Shropshire. It's about, if you're not from the UK, if you look at the centre, let's say you look Birmingham and you go left about 50 miles, you go west about 50 miles. Wow, that's coming down there. Nice, isn't it? What's going on? There's no news, is there? What is this, after lunch, is it? Shouldn't be. Okay, so this is the area where I think it's probably likely going to bounce again. It's definitely congested here. And that's quite a nice big possible bounce off there. It does finish bullish, but it's not something I really want to get into. It's let's have a look. No, it's not a new high. Let's say possible second entry long, but that's not a new high. Finished on its end. Probably likely going to move up, I'd say, but it did there, and that sort of almost covered that area, so I think it's likely going to move to the EMA. It's just nothing I can get involved in, really. I'm giving up picking these. I just don't have a lot of luck with them. Sometimes they work lovely, sometimes they just don't. I mean, you would think the way that's every time that's coming back into there and it's finishing with a bullish bar right on its high, one tick off its high, it's pushed back up quite strongly. And it's probably going to be doing it, but just guaranteed as soon as I do it, it fucks up. Excuse my French. And I'm fed up with losing them. So if I stop doing them, that'll make a difference in my trading. So, yes, future trader. 4 minutes to launch. What's going on? What am I missing? Who's launching? In New York. What's launching? What's going on? What is it? A space shuttle or something? What am I missing? Okay, that you'd have got a couple of points out of that. Only take one trade today. Well, that's all right. That is one trade's positive. Yeah, they did move up. It did look quite a good bar, I got to say, and it did come down into that area of congestion. In fact, the body bounced exactly right on there. So where I drew that is actually really played a part, isn't it? Ticked on it here, body closed on it here. So that was actually, although it, see, trying to go once, trying to go twice, trying to go 3 times, 4 times. So it wasn't really a second entry there, but it is an area where you see Matt goes on about these ranges. You buy the bottoms and sell the tops. And when he says that, I don't think he necessarily means if there is a setup, if there is like a second entry, but big bearish bar right where it's bounced off before. But I try and leave them alone because when I sit here, they always work. The second I get involved, they just flipping don't. So, but that worked really nice. See, I think most traders are going to see that and think, do I really want to be selling there? Nope. So what's my other option? To buy. Oh, you got it, did you? Yeah, I did look at it. But I did say I'm trying to stop these. Perhaps I should just watch them and monitor them. I mean, that looked probably as good as it gets off there, really, didn't it? Obviously, we've had this initial overshoot, but it's sort of holding here, it's holding here, it's holding here. And if you look at that line I marked, it literally sat on the bottom of it, finished on its high. So that turned out nice, that. Yeah, so that's nice, that, yeah. Straight back up to this area of there's more congestion around there. Yeah, some resistance there, some support there, bit of resistance there, bit of resistance there. See what happens here. This might be an area where it turns. Yeah, if you can take one trade and it's a winner, you've done all right in a market like this, because it has been hard lately and it's chopping. And if you can get one trade a day when it's not a terrible day. We've had worse days, but there's not. What I mean is not the way the market looks, just the way the actual setups. There's just not many in the way of it. So if you've got a winning trade out of that, you've done all right, mate. Oh. Peter Gordon Lawrence, where are you from then? Are you UK? Peter Gordon Lawrence. That could be a UK name, couldn't it? Could be a Scottish name. Hard to say. You like a second leg? Will I get one, do you? I don't. Okay, so we've had our break and our new high. It's a little bit congested there, which is what I expected. There's a place in Shrewsbury called PGL. We went there with school when we were 10. PGL. I don't know that one. PGL. No, I'm not sure what you mean there, bud. So I take it you're from the UK then, aren't you? Whereabouts are you in the UK? We're getting more and more from the UK, actually. They're popping up out the bushes. 28 years ago now. Maybe it closed. Yeah, 28 years, and you were 10, so that makes you 38. Look at that. Good with numbers, aren't I? Oh, of course. Yeah. Yeah, got you. I got you. Of course, we had that conversation, didn't we? Yeah, we did. PGL. 28 years ago. Where was I 28 years ago? 38, 48, 25. Yeah, I was in Shrewsbury then. Are we going to come down here? Are we? So we've had the break. New high. Bearish bar, but it's a bit congested, so who knows what it's going to do. I'm just thinking if it's going to stall there. Oh, some mentioned he thought we were in a downtrend today, so depending on how that sits. Depends. I mean, we've pushed down, we've hit that once, hit it twice. We've only hit it once. It's hard to say at the moment. It's certainly possible. But it's hard to trade as a downtrend at the moment because it's really, we are with these two pushes down. It's hard to trade that at the moment because it's obviously going up there and not coming down enough there. So critical zone. In other words, a zone where no bugger knows what's happening. Yeah, we could go up or down here, really, couldn't we? Let's face it. Should we expect a new low eventually? We could do. It's hard to say at the moment, isn't it? Because it has. I mean, you know, it was a little bit clearer. We had this big downtrend, overshoot, break new low, big push up, break new high, big push down, break new low. And we've gone up, overshoot, come back, break, tried to go higher, and then just tanked down to this area again, and we pushed up. So we could come up and maybe have attempted a new high here hit this high. It's hard to say, really, isn't it? But it's definitely gone a little bit choppy, isn't it? Especially around this sort of area here. And I'm learning very quickly. I need to stay out of areas like that. Don't listen to me. You've said that before. You've gone, I think it's going down. And I go, you think so? And you go, maybe not. So you're not good at backing up your ideas, are you? I mean, you could say it's happening. It could coming down from the top. It's certainly starting to. But it depends. If it turns here and comes down below here, then I'd say maybe, we're working down. But it's hard to say at the moment, isn't it? It's certainly resembling a range day at the moment, isn't it? And the reason, if I take that up there, let me have a look. If I take that a bit higher to there, yeah, actually that works. If I take that to there, if you look here and there and there and there and there, it's actually using that midline. So it's definitely, we've pushed up a little bit below the midline there, but we've bounced off the midline there. Bar opened and closed there. There's some resistance, some support there. There's some resistance 3 times there. So that midline is certainly playing a part. So if we do push any higher, this area, midline or that area, wherever you think, is probably going to be somewhere where it's going to possibly struggle. That's if it does go up. It's hard to say at the moment, isn't it? Pie in the sky. You don't want the responsibility. Because if you say we're going down and I go, oh, there's a short here. Oh, some says we're going down. I'll take that short. And I can get mad with you then, see. I can blame you. It's quite nice to have someone else to blame, I've got to say. If I listen to you, see, and take a short, that takes a responsibility off me and puts it on you then, see. I take it it's lunchtime, isn't it? 12 o'clock. Well, the time they usually go on lunch at 12 o'clock today. Probably why it's probably going to sit along there. It's going to sit along that area for a while. You went long at 40.47, did you? Down here. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, that looks like a good place to enter. That does, as good as any. In that area I drew there, it's sort of fitting there. It's fitting there. It couldn't have fit any better there, really, could it? So, big bearish, big bullish bar right on its high. We've had this overshoot. You expect something the other side, and yeah, I think that's as good as anywhere really to go long there. Certainly, it's certainly this area where it's coming down to and bouncing off. It did there, didn't it? That one there took off. Same again, took off. Here, took off. That one there took off back up there. So it's, I think that was a pretty good trade there to go long. Trouble is, you never know. Where did you come out? Around about here, did you? Thinking. Trouble is, it's one of those things, isn't it? Which is why what I tend to do is I tend to think about where the high is, where it's likely to go, and I follow up closely. And then I just, when it gets close to it, I just jam me stopping. And if it happens to go a bit higher, I'll just follow it up bar by bar, and I find I get more points that way. Now, if I'd have just taken this and gone for 2 points, I'd have come out there and look at that. It's gone up at least double that. Whereas if I'd have waited here for it to hit that one, and I'd have dropped me order there, I'd have got me 3.75, and then I'd have followed it up to the next one. And I'd have probably, it'd come down to there, and I'd have got 6 points minimum out of that, see? So it's much better, isn't it? I'd have got 3 times my profit, at least, and enough to pay for the fees. If I'd have just, which is why I tend to now, I just see if I'd have took that short, I'd have took it down to the bottom, which was down here. That's probably a bad example actually, but you know, this one, if I'd have taken that long there, I could have just taken me 2 points, which was there, or I could have let it break the highs and drop me stop in. You always tend to get a bit more. I got my stop loss at 6 points. Good on you. Yeah, it's definitely worth trying to get more. There's so much more in the market, isn't there, nowadays? Whether it's just now or not, I don't know. But there's just so much. I mean, if you'd have took a short up here, look what you possibly could have get. It almost doesn't seem. It seems a waste of time. Taking a point out of that. If you'd have taken that short, for instance, look at that. It hardly seems worth taking that when look at the potential is you could get 10 times that and the rest. Yeah, I don't see that. I mean, obviously, I'm assuming markets have changed over the years. When Mac started doing the point thing, you could almost guarantee every bar was going to be less than 2 points. So it probably wasn't that bad now. But the average bar was 2 points. With your risk. Look at that now. You tick above, tick below. That's over 3 points minimum. So there's just that much more left to make, isn't there? I mean, if you'd have taken that trade there, not a fantastic setup, but, look what you'd have got. Same there. Look what you'd have got. If you'd have shorted here, look what you'd have got. You know what I mean? Break. If it doesn't matter where you take a lot of these trades, they seem to rocket up. You're locked in, have you? Good on you. So I'm taking your stop is probably somewhere below that one, I'm saying, isn't it? Somewhere around about either below there or below here, I'm guessing. So it may pee around here for a bit, but I think it's likely it might go higher up here somewhere, either one of these. One of these sort of areas. Which broker is best for E-mini? If you use NinjaTrader, they have their own broker now. In fact, I think their broker is NinjaTrader. When I joined, there was two. There was Philip something and another one. But I think they took over. They have their own broker now. So if you have NinjaTrader, I think you have to use their broker. So I don't quite. Yeah, it's their own broker now. NinjaTrader's own broker. You used to be able to have multiple broker licenses, but they don't do them anymore. So you are forced to use NinjaTrader's own now, and I think they're okay. If you have the license there, I think the fees are pretty good. Obviously, if you trade, if you use a different platform than NinjaTrader, obviously. Trade8 or whatever else, obviously, the rules are different, which I'm not too sure about there, so I can't advise you there. I didn't think they do. I can't remember. Max said he had one of the old ones, the multi-broker licenses. I'm pretty sure now if you use NinjaTrader, you've got to use their own. I might be wrong. But it was called Philip. I think it was called Philip Capital. There was two brokers you could use, and I'm pretty sure I got taken on to the what's it. So as far as I'm aware, you have to use NinjaTrader's own, but things might have changed. I haven't traded my own account now for probably a year. Me and my own accounts don't work very well, so I've been with funded accounts, trading with them with the valuations for the last at least 12 months, I would say, possibly 12 months. So I think, oh, Sam, you got your stop spin taken, as I'm assuming you had it around about there, didn't you? It's looking bearish, isn't it? Just thinking, will there be some longs in there? Yeah, there's probably going to be some longs in there. It's hard to say. That was it, dormant, yeah. Dormant trading if you want to use rhythmic. Side trade a little differently than your second entry long. Intrigued by the market's close. It's Friday 406. Have a look later and an hourly chart and go back over the last month. Cash closes. No, I wasn't aware of that. I'll have a look. I know when Mac teaches this, he doesn't use any other time frame. Tell a lie. He looks at the daily once a day, just to discuss where the market's been today, where it could go next. But he doesn't use any other time frames apart from the 2000 tick. I occasionally been using the 10,000 tick chart, but I don't. Sometimes it can give you conflicting signals. Sometimes I've seen good trades on here and it doesn't necessarily look like it on there, but I know he doesn't use any other time frames, so I don't know. It's one of those things, isn't it? Yeah. You're short here, are you? Yeah. So we've had the break in a new high, haven't we? Yeah, it's still choppy, isn't it? But it does look like it's hard to say at the moment. You just could do anything really, couldn't it? Yeah, okay. I'll keep an eye on that. Time is it now? Okay. Probably going to knock it on the head, I think, soon. So I will be trading here today. I'll trade all week up until Thursday. I have my mother's funeral on the Friday, so I won't be trading that day. And then I'll be back as normal on the Monday. So if you're new to the channel and you subscribe, you get a notification when I put a schedule up, because what I usually do is schedule a stream the night before. So if you subscribe, then you'll get a notification that I'm starting a stream. And I've also scheduled a stream as well. So also, if you do take an evaluation, I have a code up here, 50% off. It is 50% off on the board at the moment, but I have a code there and I get a small kickback. So if you want it, it's there. But I would say, unless you want one now, I would probably wait, because I would guess we would be having an 80% off. We seem to have a lot of 8%. And I'll tell you why I believe they're going to have more 80% off, because when that goes up to 80%, I get loads of these, and I mean loads of them. When it goes down to 50%, it dies off a death. So people take way more evaluations when it's 80% off. So Apex obviously know that, which is why they tend to never leave it more than 3 to 4 weeks before they put some of their offer in place. So if you want an evaluation anyway, they're 50% off. And there's my code. I get a small kickback. But if you're not in a rush for one, I would probably hold on, because I would say we are likely to get another 80% off in the next week, 2-3 weeks, somewhere around there. Depends. But yeah, if you subscribe, I'd appreciate it. And if you want to use that, then it is there. also. So that is probably it for today. We've had the one trade, so it did look better than that, I assure you, but it looks more of a doji now. But there you go. To be honest with you, there's not a massive amount of good setups today. I really can't see many others. There's nothing really obvious. The trouble is, it's going a bit sideways. You know, probably one or two may took that other, but there's no real setup there. So I really can't see any good setups, and it seems to be getting more and more like that. You may have took that one. It was confirmed. It was a bullish bar right off the entry point. You may have took that one, but it's, you know, it's a riskier trade. Bit of an overshoot there. Pull back to this side, pushed up a couple of times, and then started coming down. So you may have took that one, but it's a little bit choppy around there. But apart from that, I can't see a lot of any really good setups. There isn't really anything, no, and we seem to be getting more and more days like that, which is a bit frustrating. But you know, it is what it is. You can't fight the markets. But yeah, as I said earlier, if anybody does have a bit of spare time and you're part of Mac's group, just send him a message and ask him if he'd start, you know, marking the trades he actually took. I've done it myself, but sometimes if a few people ask him, he may. It might stick in his memory a bit. I can't see why there will be an issue for him to tell us where he took his trades, but a lot of the trades he marks, I mean, we've seen hardly anything here. I guarantee you he'll probably pick about 8 or 10, but from what I can see, those 8 or 10 are going to be slightly riskier. Now, it's okay, him putting 8 or 10 slightly risky trades, but to people less experienced, they don't really want to be taking a lot of trades like that. So it would be useful to get into the mind of the trader as such, just to see what his particular entries he took, because I know he marks a lot of trades, and I've heard him say he only takes around about 2 a day, so it would certainly. So if you do get a bit of spare 5 minutes and you feel like dropping him an email, by all means do. The more of us who do it. Hey, Sam, how you doing, buddy? Are you just starting now, Sam, are you? Yeah, I'm just finishing, bud. Been a funny old day today. It's been sort of rangy, but it does seem to be working down a touch here. But we've just had the one which looked risky. It didn't look as bad as that. I reloaded my historical chart data and it turned that relatively bullish bar into a doji. So if I posted that in the Facebook group, I'd probably have a load of flack saying, "Why'd you take a doji?" So it is what it is. But yeah, it's, as you well know, Sam, and you other guys, it's trades are hard to come by at the moment, especially good setups. I can't remember the last time I saw a really good setup, but it does seem to be getting harder and harder, so hopefully it won't last for long. Markets, the sentiment seems to be better. I know we've had sort of promise of lower interest rates, and I know the markets in general haven't been doing too bad. I know my cryptos have shot up 100 well, one of them has 160 odd % in the last couple of weeks. So feeling does seem to be improving. So who streams live, guys? Head to Black Bay Trading Channel. He streams live. Black Bay. Never heard of that. Black Bay. I'll look into that. So yeah, have a great evening, and I'll be here tomorrow, and we'll see what we can find then. So have a great evening. Stay safe, and I will catch up with you all tomorrow.